the question?
Yeah, I guess for both Chris and Lance, just that you get everybody in that you were expecting to as far as qualifiers. I guess Lance, go ahead and start first.
Yeah, we actually had more than we anticipated. Maddie Reed, who has had to overcome some injury issues, came back and qualified by the skin of her chinny chin. So that's a great parting gift for her, that she'll get to go to the first round of the national meet her senior year, and she'll run the 1500. So we're real happy for her.
And a barking dog there.
Yeah, Nate, on the men's side, yeah, basically, we got everybody in, that we thought would make it once the year started. So, all hands on deck now, and here we go again.
Anybody healthy on both teams as far as anybody that's not going to be able to make it because of injuries?
Oh, I think our crew is all, knock on wood, relatively healthy. After a cross season, an indoor season, another cross finale, and then now outdoors. Some of them are starting to get pretty tired, which is pretty typical across the board, across the nation in that fact. But those that have a serious chance of advancing and scoring at the NCAA finals, those people are in good shape.
Yeah, Nate, the same with us too. Everybody's in good shape. Fortunately, there's no decathlon this weekend. Those are automatically qualified to Eugene. And so that really our only injury problem was with Marcus Ballingy. And so he's got, he's been looking good in practice this week, and, things are shaping up, and it gives him another couple of weeks before the decathlon begins in Eugene. So other than that, we're good to go. No excuses. We're ready to run.
And I guess finally for both, just because it's such a grind, that 10,000 and 5,000, how do you kind of have them doing maybe the minimal they need to qualify and still but get there or to advance?
Yeah, that's a real serious juggling act as far as trying to make sure they get qualified, but at the same time have them as comfortable as possible going into the first round of the NCAA. The dilemma that we face on the men and women's side, for that matter, is because the SEC is so competitive, at times ideally you would not have to double them at the conference meet, but we had to in that respect, just to be able to try to win the SEC meet.
Yeah, that's ditto, exactly the same for us. Nate, there's no holding back in these races. I mean, there's no way that we can go into any kind of cruise mode in the 5 or the 10K or the steeple. I mean, we're going to be running for our dear lives in these races. So it's unbelievably competitive. We see the effects of a COVID year, and the fact that, there's just a lot of talent that has stayed in the mix this year. And it's just going to be a tough road to hoe. But, our kids have done it all year. They've come through, and I'm hoping that, we feel like, we feel fresh and feel like we have a little bit of luck on our side that we can go ahead and get these guys qualified. But it's going to be, both those races are going to be hell on wheels. It's not going to be easy.
Thank you.
Bob, did you have a question?
Yeah, I guess I thought the 10,000 used to automatically advance, but now they have to qualify.
Yeah, the sprint coaches complained enough to convince, I guess, the constituency that it's not fair that they have to do, multiple events. That why should the 10,000 get a break? Obviously, most of those people have never run a 10,000. So they don't have an educated idea of how taxing the event is. But anyway, everybody has to do it. And for those that are in the team battle as well, if you have distance runners, the 10-5 double is a natural. And, I think there's a lot of potential scoring opportunities, in those two events for us, especially.
And then for both y'all, maybe Lance, you could take it first. Going back to College Station, where you just won the championship, you've obviously, I guess you competed there, I think during the regular season, you competed there several times probably, these kids have, or some of your older kids have. I mean, do you think it's good that it's at a familiar site where you're used to having success?
I think that, we have a warm, fuzzy feeling about, we won the SEC championships there. The format as far as the check-in procedure, all the administrative aspects of the meet, we have witnessed and gone through it. So I think it'll be very familiar territory for our kids, but as far as any type of advantage, it wouldn't be much of one.
Yeah, Chris, what are do you like being there and, a place you just won a championship a couple weeks ago?
I think absolutely it's very familiar where, you go back to the same hotel. It's the same trip basically. And the same, almost just change the dates in the itinerary. So that's really good. Our guys are familiar with everything, the hotel, the trip to the stadium and what's going on in the stadium and spike check and all those other fun things that have to be done. We know the routine really well. So yeah, I think it's a comfortable place for us, and that should be one less thing to worry about.
And then you guys both have a ton of entries and athletes competing. Just how good do you feel about, and stuff usually happens unforeseen, but how good do you feel about being able to advance in big numbers to Eugene? Maybe Lance, you could take that first.
Well, we do have a huge contingent. We have 32 scoring opportunities. We'd like to obviously to have as many of those people qualify to the final in Eugene as possible. If we're going to try to fight for a position on the podium, we need to get as many advancers as possible, especially those that are at the top of their event list. We need those types of people to get through unscathed and ready for the great challenge that's going to occur in the final in Eugene.
And Chris, what are your feelings about having so many people and your chances of advancing a lot?
Obviously, the more weapons you have, the better. Obviously, I think we have 27 entries at this meet this weekend. If you add the two decathletes for Eugene, you're looking at 29 possible scoring opportunities. We're in 15 of the 21 events. So we got both of our relays in. So it feels good, Bob, to go down as a team. It feels like a conference meet to us. And I think that's an advantage. Everybody's familiar with each other. I mean, it's just a good situation for us to have so many people go down there and have that team atmosphere, which is rare.
Ask one more for each guy. I guess they're doing Wednesday, Friday for the women, and Thursday, Saturday for the men. I guess they'll do it in Eugene. Do you guys like having a day between events like that? Is that a good setup rather than maybe somebody might have to run 3 days in a row or whatever? How do you like that?
Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I mean, it's the men go Wednesday, Friday. I think the women Thursday, Saturday. I think that's first. And then I like the setup. I think, Lance, is this the first time we've done it at the regional meet like this?
It is.
And so, don't especially like another day on the road, but I do think that it makes the meet cleaner. I like the format at the NCAA championship, and it looks like they moved it back to the regionals for the first time. So, having a day off in between, I think is good. And I think you have the days that the men can shine and on their own, and you have those days the women can shine on their own. And I just think it's an easier meet to follow eventually, ultimately. But this is the first time we've gone on a 4-day format for the first or second round. So,
as Chris said, that, it just highlights the specific gender on that day. The original idea of doing this was TV was excited about it and kind of changed the format, and it went so well that they said, hey, we're going to stick with it. And then due to COVID, to try to lessen the numbers on the track at any one time, this is the reason why they've lightened the load, so to speak, with men on one day and women the next.
And so I guess I lied. I actually got one more for each of you. You guys are used to running to win or throwing to win or vaulting to win or whatever the event might be. But I know this setup, it's, if you're in the top 5, if you finish 5th, it's as good as winning. You advance. How do you approach that with your kids?
We just tell the kids that we're running for the airplane ticket. We just need to get that opportunity to grab that ticket, because they all go to the same place and the slate starts clean again once you do get to Eugene. So, we just got to stay in the qualifying procedure rounds. Some are 3, some are 5. And one thing we will remind the kids is make sure you're aware of the advancement process. So you make sure you don't take anything for granted.
Yeah, it is a little bit different going to a standalone meet like this with no team score. We just, again, remind our athletes that it's the first and second round. The NCAA meet has begun at Texas A&M. And so you got to qualify for the finals. So we just try to focus in on the fact, and, the competition is so good, you got to treat everything like a final anyway, even when we were at the SEC meet. So it's a little bit different to wrap your arms around the fact that, hey, we're going to a meet and we're basically trying to qualify for the last 2 rounds in Eugene. So we got to have that kind of mindset, and for us and our events and where we're at, we have to treat it like a final anyway. So that's all I got to say about this beautiful format. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay, you sound like Forrest Gump at the speaking out there in Washington. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Nate, did you have another question?
Yeah, I just had one. Just y'all have run in such a cool spring this year, and I assume down in College Station it'll be a lot hotter. Any concern about that running in the heat I guess it'll be the first time this spring?
Yeah, it's been unusually cool and rainy, in Northwest Arkansas. But we are getting a taste of heat just the last few days, and our kids have been, adapting to it. But it will definitely be less shock to us than those coming off the West Coast. I think if it's in the high 80s and matching humidity, a lot of the people on the West Coast have a tendency to struggle in that, that type of format. So I think we'll be a little more prepped for it than maybe some of our peers.
Yeah, same thing. Ultimately, the fittest, most prepared athletes will qualify anyway, but hope it's 4 or 5 days of high humidity and heat. It's not just about the races and the meet, it's about walking around in it, living in it for 4 or 5 days. And so I don't feel sorry for anybody about that. We're used to it, even though it has been kind of cool this spring. Ultimately, this is our kind of weather, and if it makes some other places uncomfortable, other schools from the Mountain West out there in the West Coast, have fun with it.
Thanks.
Anyone else with a question? Good deal. Thank you.